Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. Hope you guys are doing well today. And I'm excited to craft a super cute project with you today, a loaded Christmas envelope, which I'll show you here in a second. My name is Loritamarie from Loritamarie Crafts. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Calgary, Alberta, and I like to come here live on Thursdays so I can share fun tips, techniques, ideas, inspiration to help you take your paper crafting supplies and turn them into beautiful projects. So this week, I'm going back to a favorite here, the Traditions of Christmas Suite, which is such pretty paper, and it was out of stock for a while, and so um it's back, and I thought I am going to make a fun project that I've been wanting to do for a while with this loaded envelope. And I was just wanting to say that this is my weekly class to go. So if you're in Canada and you place an order, $50 for local pickup, $65 to ship to you, you will get all the pieces for this cut and prepped for you and sent in the mail, and then you can make it too. And this is your instructions for how to make it. I also wanted to say that if you love this suite, I have a couple other things you could check out. I put the links in the description. So I did a past video. It's like all the way back in September now, where I showed the suite and I made a few cards. And that video's been really popular. So if you haven't checked it out, be sure and go and watch that one and get some card ideas. And then I had a class that month too, which was really popular, where it was like a gift stationery box. And so you can't get the product class anymore, but you can get the tutorial. And so I've got a link here too, but it's like a little box, and then you make, so you learn how to make the box, you make 2 cards, there's 4 tag ideas and 3 like mini cards with the little custom envelopes. So it's a cute little project that you might want to check out. So you can grab that on my online store if you like. Details are always, more information is always at loritamarie.crafts.ca. And I think that's all I have to say right now. I have a little Black Friday sale too. So if you check out the post on this project, you'll see that I have some fun extra offers for you, or gifts that I want to give you if you place an order before the end of Monday. Otherwise, I hope you're just enjoying yourself. If you're American, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you're having a great weekend. I do intend on watching the parade later. I don't know. I love watching the parade, even though I'm not American. So I have it taped. And then my husband loves football, so he's watching football right now. So lots of fun today. So let's get down to the desk, and I'm going to show you the project first so you can kind of get an idea for what we're making. So cute. I don't maybe you've heard of loaded envelopes before, but the idea is just like a little pocket thing where it's got pockets, an envelope with pockets where you can tuck things in. Now, I just have projects tucked in here, but the idea that I was thinking is that you could also use it, you could use all the pieces separately, and the envelope could be like you could tuck in a hot chocolate packet, or like those little Ghirardelli chocolates because they're flat. So those would fit in here really nice. And so we're going to be making the envelope. I'm going to show you 3 simple tag ideas, a little gift card holder idea, and then a full-size card idea. So that's all fitting in this little envelope, or like I said, you can use all the pieces separately. So cute, and this paper is so much fun to play with. And so I was excited to bring this paper back. I'm saying back because I did all my crafting with it in September, so it feels like a long time ago. So say hi if you're watching. If you catch the replay, I always appreciate you guys watching the replay, and you can always leave comments, and I see them and appreciate them and reply when I can. So to start this project, we need a piece of 2-tone cardstock. So this is Real Red 2-tone cardstock, and just my thing. I think I did the dark side out here. Yes, I did. And we want to cut it to 10 inches by 9. So 10 by 9. Okay, and then with the 10-inch side up, so the long side, you're going to score it in half at 5 inches. Okay, and then we're going to turn it, and then whatever's going to be the bottom, so this is the 9-inch side, we are going to score it at 2 inches. Okay, so let's start there. And we will burnish the folds, and then we need to cut that angle piece out. So we will fold this in half. That up, and then we'll fold this 2-inch piece up. Okay. So we have a couple cuts to make. So the first one is, I'm just grab a pencil here. We're going to need to cut. So this is going to be the front. So we're going to cut down 3 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to open that up. Actually, I'm going to mark it on the inside, then we won't see my pencil mark. So I'm just going to measure down 3 3/4. Make a mark there. Grab my paper trimmer again. And then I'm going to cut it from the score line in the middle down to that little mark that I made. And that's going to create our angle to create our pocket on the front there. So I'm just lining it up in the track of my paper trimmer. And we'll just cut that off there. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, and you can use your trimmer or scissors, but I'm going to cut this piece here on the front, but I'm not going to cut it off. And it might be easier to use the trimmer, then I'll be more straight, but I'm just going to go to the inside kind of my score line there. Up to that 5-inch score line. So it kind of looks like this now. Okay, so then we're going to fold this over. And then the idea is that this is what makes the pocket on the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold mine over, fold it up. I've just got to trim it off a little bit so it sits nicer. And then I'm going to make this a pocket too. And this is going to be a pocket. And this is going to be a pocket. But it also works if you fold this up, you fold this around. Look, you got a pocket on the back. So if you wanted to make it like a double-sided thing, you just have to seal up the bottom and the side, and then you could have a pocket on the back too. But I am going to do this. So this is like, it's bunching up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is open this up again, and I'm just going to trim this out so it's kind of got some room there to fold up. Okay, so we'll just snip this little piece out. Okay, so that's going to fold up like that. That fits a lot nicer, and it's, yeah, that looks great. So I don't have to, this is going to, I don't want to describe this. This is going to create the pocket on the bottom, so I don't have to worry about sealing up the bottom, but I'm going to seal up this piece and then this. But before we do that, we need to put our DSP on the inside. So the Traditions of Christmas DSP, of course, is gorgeous, and any pattern will do. So I am choosing this pattern. Why? Because it's the last pattern I have left of a full-size piece. So sometimes you just work with what you got, and then that's how you decide. My favorite pattern is actually, let me show you this one. I love this one with the plaid on the back. That's my favorite, but we're going to use that on the card. So grab whichever pattern is your favorite. I kind of want, we're going to be using 3 patterns on the front. So I want the main one to be with the white to kind of brighten it up. I'm going to use the back side on the inside and then another complementary piece. So first we're going to cut this to 4 3/4. Okay, and then for the one on the inside, just double check here. I just need it to be 4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to use the blue. So it's 4 3/4 by 4, and it's going to sit in there. But while we have the paper trimmer out, we might as well keep cutting. So this one is going to be on the angled piece, and I want to cut it to 4 3/4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And then I need another piece, and I've chosen this cherry cobbler with polka dots. And I've already cut this one. So it's 4 3/4 by 1 3/4. So we've got our 3 pieces there, but we need to cut our angle on this one. And let me tell you, I hate complex measurements. It's not my thing. Angles are not my thing. Math is not my thing. So all I'm going to do, and why I've cut this smaller is because we're going to fold it up and then we don't see the bottom anyway, is I'm going to line this up to where I want it in this corner. And then I am just going to mark my DSP where it's going to sit with my angle. You can see that. And then I'm just going to cut my paper. And it's going to be more or less right. And then I don't have to worry about making sure my measurements are right or anything. I'm always trying to find a hack to make it a little bit easier. Oh, so I was a little off my pencil mark. So let's see how that turned out. So that angle's pretty good. That's pretty straight. So that works. Keeps things a little easy. But I do have that lovely pencil mark that I'm going to have to get rid of. So let's just erase that off. I had to buy myself a couple of these good erasers. Ones on pencils are never very good, right? Okay. So there we go. So let's start putting this together. So we'll put our inside piece on first, and I'm just going to use seal. Just got to reach over and grab it here. Hey, Debbie. All right. We're going to put this on. So remember, it goes this way, 4 3/4 is the width. And center that inside. Now we need to close this up. So I'm just going to put some adhesive along this edge here. And I'm not going to worry about the bottom because it's all going to be tucked in anyway. So we'll just, and you are going to want your liquid glue, any kind of like 3D project, your liquid glue is going to hold the best. And I've been using mine a lot lately. So let's see if I've got anything left in here. Okay. Let's check my other one. Got a backup. I think I have a backup. I'm going to need a backup to the backup. Let's see if I can just squeeze it to get it to come out. Oof, there we go. Okay. It was just a little stuck there. So we'll just put a little bit on the edge, and then we're going to fold this over, line this up. And I don't mind if it's a little loose here, right? Because it's going to give you more space to get whatever you're putting inside your pocket. Okay, and then probably got glue everywhere. All right, so now we can put on the next piece of DSP. And so we'll line that up with the angle because the bottom we're not going to see. It's going to be inside the pocket. Okay, then we need to seal up this little flap here. So we'll put a little glue on this side. Just give me a second. Always fun to watch glue dry, right? Then we're going to, yeah, I'm going to want that to be a little more secure here. Let's just wait till that dries a second. And then we're going to turn this into a pocket. So we're going to need to put adhesive on this side and on this side too. So my idea was then this is also a pocket because I was just going to cut it off at first, but then I was like, why not make another pocket? Okay, and then we'll just put a little glue down these sides. And I think that's all the fussy glue that I have to do. Okay, so we do need to hold it in place just for a second. It's already looking cute, right? That's fun. Okay, so we have the basics of our pocket. So let's get our other piece of DSP on here. And we'll try not to get glue on the rest of our project. Okay, so then you can decorate yours up however you want. So I'll show you what I did here. So what I love about this DSP is that it's got all these pretty poinsettia details and images that you can just cut out. So there is the Christmas greenery stamp set and matching dies if you want to stamp and do all that kind of thing. But it just stamps kind of the bigger images, kind of like a big set. I don't think I have it handy here of poinsettias, and then the one with the more of bouquet. So I like using the DSP, and then I can just fussy cut around that. So I've already gone ahead and done that, so you don't have to watch me fussy cut it out. It's so pretty, right? But then I always find like it needs something to sit on. It needs something to kind of ground it. So I'm going to punch out a circle in this same DSP. And then that's just kind of going to hold it all together. And so I'm going to be using this punch a lot today. This is my 2 3/8 punch. And it's going to help me keep the rest of the project pretty simple here. So we will put this on. So we'll use some dimensionals. And just make sure you're going down a little bit because you don't want to close up your pocket. Okay, where was I going with that? Now, this is linear, the pattern, so I do kind of want it to be straight too. Okay, so put on, Okay, so we'll set that here. And you can use dimensionals for this piece or just keep it flat. I'm just going to keep mine flat. And we'll put that on. Then we need a sentiment. So I'm going to be using the traditional labels bundle that goes with this. So I'm going to cut this out and use this quite a bit, this banner piece, and then I'm going to mix and match my sentiments here. So I've got my label piece all ready to go, and I'm going to grab a block, and I want to stamp "'Tis the Season." And it does work even though it's one thing at the moment. So I'm just going to lay it down so it stays pretty straight when I pick it up with my block. And then we're going to stamp with Real Red. Now, one way to step up this project, I did all my stamping today Real Red on white. But normally I love heat embossing. So if you want to step up the project, then just do some little heat embossing. So I'm just inking up the "'tis" and "the." And I'm going to center this on our little banner. Oh, try not to get ink everywhere. Then we're going to clean this off. Look how red my chamois is. It needs a good rinse. Doing a lot of red crafting yesterday. Okay, now I'm just going to, I just have scrap paper here. I'm just going to make sure there's no like residue from me cleaning it. Then we're going to ink up the word "season." And we're going to stamp that on the bottom part. There we go. So that's good to go. Now the ribbon in this suite is the Real Red shiny ribbon, but the ribbon was a bit heavy for this project. So I actually grabbed Old Olive twine. So this is in the fall suite. It comes with Early Espresso and Old Olive, and it's perfect, right? There's Old Olive in this paper, so that's what I'm going to use. And what did I do? I think I just tied a bow. So like 8 inches. Can the chamois be washed out with soap? You know, I don't know. That's a good question. I just rinse mine. I just rinse it till the water goes clear, and that's been good enough. It's usually just when you're using those like heavily pigmented colors, right? Where it doesn't really affect your stamping or your project, as more your fingers. It gets all over your fingers. So that's when it's getting a bit messy, then I like to rinse it out. So I took the twine and I folded it back and forth in thirds. And I'm just going to plop it there, picturing this all layering up together. And we're going to add one more detail in a second. But I'm going to put dimensionals on here again. But because I already have dimensionals on the one side, I'm actually going to stack. So we'll put 2 there. So that's going to sit on this, but I want things to be even. So I'm actually going to stack my dimensionals. And I'm going to put 2 together. And then it's nice and flat. Not flat, but even. That's what I want. So this looks good too, but to bring in some of the gold, I used the bow from the Christmas greenery dies. So I have this one here. Sorry, I was just reading a question. Your chamois smells weird. You know, they do. I did replace mine recently and make sure it's not enclosed ever because it can kind of get moldy. So I never leave mine closed. So I always, this is like a, like those DVD cases that Stampin' Up sells. And I keep it in there and I usually just close up one end and make sure, I use mine constantly. So I just leave it open a little bit. But if you're not going to be using yours for a while, I would leave it open and let it totally dry out. Otherwise, it is going to get moldy. So maybe that's what happens. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so I cut out that bow. Here's the die. And it just adds a little shine. So I just cut it out in gold foil. And I'll just stick the bow in a glue dot. And it's a little bit bigger. So I just use my fingernails, or you can use your take your pick tool and just kind of fold over the dot. And same thing when we grab this. Okay. And where do I want it? Just kind of like there. And then it's just a little extra detail. Of course, with this suite, there's the pretty and very popular, what are these called? Traditional sparkling sequins, and they're actually back in stock. They came in early. So you can add some of those too. Those are really cute. But that is the basics of our cute little pocket. And so we've got this main pocket here. Then we have this one here. Oh, let me get the right angle. Like that. But then this one has also made a pocket. So you have 3 pockets, and idea is, like I said, you could put hot chocolate, you can put a card, you can put a gift card in, and you've got 3 different places to put things. So now we're going to make coordinating tags, gift card holder, and a card. They're all pretty simple because I didn't want them to be, this is the time of year right now, we're getting closer to December. We don't want things to be too crazy. We don't want things to take too long. And then we're going to tuck everything into our pocket. So let's start with the tags. And to make this easy, I didn't want to use dies. So I'm just using my circle punch, my 2 3/8. And we're going to make 3 tags. And so I have just cardstock punched out already. So 2 in Old Olive and 1 in Real Red, but you can do whatever you want. And then just pick 3 of the patterns. So I'm going to use this fun striped one. And then I'm going to do that cherry cobbler kind of polka dot one. And then I love this one. That's all red. And I am going to use the shiny side on this one. So we'll punch that out. Okay. Oh, I do need my liquid glue again. So then we're going to, I don't know which is which. So I think I had this one on the red and these 2 on the green. And the reason why I'm putting cardstock on the back is because it bugs me when you have a tag, but you can't like put your to and from on there. Right? It kind of defeats the purpose. So unless you're having like a gift tag where I guess it doesn't matter, but I always want to have a back so that I can write to and from. So you also might want to do all that before you add everything on. And I'm using glue because when I'm putting things back to back, then you can kind of shimmy it around a little bit before it dries and get it to line up. So that's a little bit easier than a seal. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Ah. that. And we want to make multiples of something like this, that I just kind of had a template in mind in my head. And then I just make them all basically the same. And then if you just tweak them like this with different patterns and they feel unique, but you didn't have to come up with a brand new project every single time. So before we do anything else, we're going to punch our holes. So some of these we want it to be straight. It is a directional pattern. So just kind of pay attention to that. And I'm just using the old Stampin' Up! Punch, which every time I'm like, I don't know what size it is, like an eighth of an inch probably. And this one doesn't really matter. Okay, so we've punched our holes. And then you can stamp on the back with the to and from. So they're not together. But if you grab your block and line them up the way you want them on your paper, your grid sheet, then you just pick them up and then they're good to go. That's a little crooked. Let's try to straighten that. Oh, now it's more crooked. Okay. Should have just ran with it. All right. And then just to show up, I'm going to stamp it in Secret C. All right. And now we can actually give our tag and write on it. I've been making a lot of tags lately, so I should be good now for Christmas. I can just have my little stash, pull from them depending on who I'm giving it to. Okay. So then the next thing, see if we have time. I don't think I have time to make all of them. So I'll just give you the basic idea. So we're going to, for every single one, right, we're going to keep that same theme. And I'm just going to use this banner piece that I cut out for every single one. I think I just got glue on my arm. Oh, the things that are happening off screen that you can't see. Coordination is not my friend today. Okay. So we're going to use the banner. Then you can mix and match what you stamp, right? So like these ones fit the banner. So sending love and joy, season greetings. And then if you want a third different one, you can do the same thing with that 'tis the season. And so that would work out. And then if you want to leave them plain, you can. So especially like this pretty gold one, right? So let's maybe do that one. Then you can, let's see. And I could have made those ones shiny too, but I was just kind of going for a more neutral background. So this one fits on the banner like so. Sorry, a little low. And then I would just put it on with dimensionals. Just make sure you're kind of more in the middle because it is going to hang off the edges a little bit. And then you could add some of those amazing sequins, right? Let's stick with the gold for this one. And maybe add 3. Then you can use your twine. And I think about 10 inches should be good, 10 to 12 inches. And then I just fold it in half. And I like to go from the back, but I've noticed that everybody does it different. So if you want to go from the front, that's also good. And then I just keep the loop open, fold it over, and then it kind of has a completed look with the thread on the front. It's kind of hard to see because it's small. And then I'll just tie a knot at the other end. So just kind of feed the ends through, tie a knot, and then you can trim off the ends. So that's a basic tag. So like for the green one, you could go back to your DSP and cut out some of the pretty images. So this is the one, like it was on the edge of the paper, but I didn't want to waste it. I do have the dies, so I didn't even have to fussy cut this one out because this worked. And then just like stick it behind, and I can trim this off a little bit more so you don't see the straight edge. And then you kind of have that fun detail on there. And then for this one, there's these pretty flowers that are also in the DSP. And so you could just pop a dimensional, oops. Yeah. I'm all sticky. You could pop a dimensional on the back of that, have them like this, and then layer this over top, and then add your gems. So let me show you the completed ones so you can see what they look like. So here's this one. So I just put those flowers behind with dimensionals and dimensionals on this in the center as well. And then I use the green gems, but everything else is the same. We got the to and from on the back, and then the green one. I did the 'tis the season again and added the red gems, and then just a little bit of the DSP cutout. So those are our tags. Next, we're going to make a little gift card holder. And this is, again, super easy. We're going to use the same pattern of DSP that we used before, but you could definitely change it up. And we want to cut it to 4 inches by 9. So just got to open this up here. 4 by 9. Then we're going to score it 1/2 inch down each side. So we'll have the short side up and we'll go 1/2 inch. Then we'll spin it around and put 1/2 inch there. Then we're going to score it at 4 inches, and I think it's supposed to be 9.5. Ah, shoot. Now I probably don't have. Do I have a piece left? I'm like, this is too small. Oh dear. Let's see if this one, does it go to 4? This one might work. Okay, I'm going to try again. Let's see if I've got enough. 4 by 9.5. Oh, I do. Okay. I was like, this isn't looking right. Hey, 4 by 9.5. There we go. Now we're going to score our 1/2 inch on the short sides. Okay, and then we're going to score it at 4 and 8, and then you should have your 1.5 inch flap. Okay, that looks better. Now we want to cut out, so this you can see the fold lines. I want to cut out this section here. I'm going to leave the middle one, and I'm going to cut out the bottom. So what I mean by that is that we're going to go up to the 1/2 inch again here, and then I'm just going to cut down to the next score line, which is 1.5 inches. So I can just see that on the side. You can use your snips or your scissors too. And then the same thing here, I'm going to cut down to 4 inches. And we're going to get rid of these sides. Orange. Okay. All right, so now that we have this, we're going to cut this at an angle. Get rid of that piece and do the same thing on this side. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Now, the reason I left the middle, so let's burnish our folds a bit. So we'll fold this up nice here, get that straight. Fold the top down. Okay. And my reasoning. So on my first sample, I had the tabs here because I thought it would be easier just to cut this all the way down. But I found it looks better when I fold this up. It looks better on the sides than if the tabs were here. You could kind of see the edge. So it's hard to describe, but that could just be a little preference of mine. So no, I want to punch out. So before we put this together, we're going to punch out a little hole. So I'm going to use that same punch, 2 3/8. It basically is the same width as this paper. And I'm just going to go down a little bit, punch that out. And so that's just going to create a little opening on the inside. And we'll go back here to our tabs, and I'm putting tear and tape on what is the outside. of each tab. Or you could use your liquid glue too. And then we'll just fold this up. Okay, so then that should fold up. If you want to try it out before you stick it on, if this is like causing grief, like you can't fold it over, you could just trim off that top a little bit. And then if you want, you could just leave it a square edge, or you could round it, which I kind of like. We don't have a corner. I don't think we have a corner rounder anymore, but this is an oldie. And so on the tab, I'm just going to round the corners a bit. Now, to keep this easy, we are going to punch out another circle, and I'm going to punch out with this fun gold, red and gold pattern again. And then I've got a label piece. Any label piece will do. This is from the traditional label size, and this is the one that fits the Just For You perfectly. So we'll just use our real red again. And we'll stamp it on here. Okay, I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. And then before we put this on the envelope, we're going to wrap some twine around it too. So that's just going to center on our circle. We're going to grab our old olive twine, and I'm just going to leave a little bit hanging off the side. I'm going to wrap it around 3 times, trim it off, and then tie a bow. So this is totally optional. I just love using twine on all my projects. So, and I'm going to tie a bow kind of almost all the way to the left. So I'm going to knot it so that it stays in place. And then we'll tie our bow. And if it's moving around on you, you could stick a little glue dot behind there. And then we'll put dimensionals on the back of this. But actually, yes, I have it the right way. Okay, but we want to leave some space at the top because we're going to use this to help us close our gift card holder. So we want some space for the flap to kind of be able to tuck under there. So we're going to center this on here, and then go close this first. Center that on there, and then it keeps it closed, but then you can easily open it and then just tuck it back in there again. And you don't have to worry about figuring out a way to seal it up. And we can add some of our gems. And I decided to use the blue on this one because I have a lot of the blue left. So goes to the pool party on this pattern. So that's our cute little gift holder. And then lastly, we just have a card, and this is going to come together pretty quickly. So, and then we'll show you how everything goes in the pocket. I have got a right mess here going on. So let's clear off some of this clutter so that you can see all this clutter over here. So I've got just a basic white card base, thick basic white, 5.5 by 8.5, scored in half at 4 1/4. And then we're going to build up this part here. And before we put it on, we're going to put it all together because I'm going to wrap twine around it again. So I got old olive, and it's 4 by 5 1/4. Then I have a piece of basic white. That's 1/8 of an inch smaller. So it's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So we can go ahead and put that on. And if you don't like 1/8 of an inch mat because it's too tiny, then you can just up this to 1/4 inch. So it's going to sit on the card like this. Then you're going to pick your favorite pattern of the DSP. Mine is this one. And we're going to cut it to an eighth of an inch smaller again. So it's going to be 3 5/8. No, 3 3/4. Yeah. And this is 5. 3 3/4 by 5. Let me just double check that. Yes, you can leave it like this. I actually sometimes like to cut off, leave a little white space. So you could trim it off at 2 inches. And then, no, see, I was supposed to make that a little bit smaller. Then you can make this one, but trim it off. So I want the pattern to match. So if you have to trim, make sure you do it on the outside. I'm just going to go to the edge of my paper trimmer there, and then you get the skinniest amount to trim off. Let me just show you what I mean. So then you have this, then you have this, and then you have a little white space there, which is kind of nice. On my original sample, I actually cut it again. So I had 3 pieces, like 1, 2, 3. But then I put a sentiment on and I ended up covering it up anyway. So I was like, oh, why did I do that? So we're just going to cut it into the 2 pieces. And then just make sure when you put it back on that your pattern matches up. So, oh, that side. So yeah, make sure that's the right way. And then we'll put this one on. I just find with this paper, I like when I don't put too much on it. It's so pretty on its own that if you make it too busy with something else on top, it doesn't, I don't know, it takes away from the paper. So I like to keep these cards with this DSP pretty simple. And so I'm just going to wrap some of that twine around again. I think you need about 40 inches. And I'm going to do similar, just to kind of create some continuity with the gift card holder. I'm just going to leave some hanging off there. I'm going to wrap it around 3 times. Leave it to hang off. It's going to be pretty centered. And we're going to do the same thing where I just tie a knot to hold it in place here. And then I like this old olive because it's just kind of subtle. It's another detail, but it's, yeah, just a light one, pulling out that green in the paper. So now that we have that on, we can go ahead and put this on the card base. And then you can just stamp any sentiment you like. So the traditional labels, right? You can mix and match. You got that fun. There's all those options. On my original sample, I heat embossed, but right now I just have white. So I could show you that if you want to even keep it more simple, then you could just heat emboss as well. Or you could just stamp as well, sorry. So I'm going to do Merry Christmas. And we're going to just use all my blocks so that I don't have to clean anything. Where's this guy? So pick up the Christmas. And I like to do it separate. I don't like to put them on the same block. And we'll ink up the Christmas first. And I find this sentiment, you can angle it. It kind of wants to be angled up, or you can keep it you can keep it straight too. So I think I'll go for the straight. So we've got our Christmas, and then our Merry, which I've tried many ways to figure out where I like it. I'm going to try to put it on this side. Okay, that's not bad. It's a little crooked, but we're going with it. So dimensionals are hiding back here. And this is it. So obviously if you heat emboss, it steps it up a little bit because then you've got that bold red to kind of pull out. Or if you like the blue, like try the Secret Sea. If you like green, then you can do it in green. And then we're just going to line it up wherever you want. I'm going to go to the edge of the white there. And then maybe you add a few of the sequins again. So it looks good with the white. I just want to show that because not everybody has heat embossing stuff to work with, but let's show you the original card. So it looks good. I love heat embossing, so I like that one. So let's bring back our pockets. All right, so we can tuck this in, fits nicely in the back pocket. We can grab our gift card holder and it tucks into the second pocket. You could use that little tiny pocket at the front and you can slip in your tags and you could give this as a gift to somebody. Or like I said, you could use all the individual pieces. So just, you're using the tags for something else. And then this becomes a gift for somebody where you put in a little package of hot chocolate. And then maybe you do just want to give the gift card and have a gift card inside. And then you could just fit that in. So lots of cute options for this loaded Christmas envelope. So let me just come back up for a second. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. That was a long one today. So thanks for hanging out with me for this project. And I hope it just gives you some fun ideas. And this suite has been so popular. So hopefully you just get some more creative juices flowing for how to use the traditions of Christmas suite. This is my weekly class to go. So if you place an order, a minimum order with me, I'll send you all the pieces to make it for free as a thank you. And then, like I said, if you're looking for more ideas with this suite, you can check out my Christmas gift stationery box where we made the box and the matching tags and cards and little mini cards, 3x3 cards on the inside. Or you can just check out my past video in this suite, which I did like in September, but I've linked it here in the description. So you can check that out if you want some card ideas. That has, I think I've made 5 cards. So you can go check that one out. And that's all. So again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. To our American friends, happy Thanksgiving again. I hope you have a great weekend and a safe weekend. And here in Calgary, it's cold. So I hope you just hang out and have an awesome weekend and maybe do some crafting. So I will be back next week with some more fun projects. And if you want to find more information about anything, you can go to my website, loritamariecrafts.ca. So thanks everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.